Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley, and this is going to be an off-the-cuff video about a subject that has absolutely nothing to do with the topics I normally cover. However, it's something that I've discussed with several women, most recent being my aunt, who's never going to watch this video, so it doesn't matter. But it's basically about dating sites. Now, dating sites are something that I've used for years and years and years until I got married, of course, off the back of a dating site. So I met my wife, Paula, on a dating site. That dating site was called Girls Date for Free, and her and I met through that site, chatted on webcam, and then met, dated, and then got married. Wonderful, one success story from a dating site. But when I was doing it, it was ridiculed by most people. So they considered it to be a sort of seedy way of meeting women. I didn't see it that way. I embraced it wholeheartedly and learnt the hard way how not to do it. So off the back of that, it's not normally men that say, how did you get on and how did you find a woman online? Most men haven't approached this subject with me, but women do. And I normally rattle off a few different things. So I've dug out an old email that I sent to this a different individual, not my auntie, and went through it because I was asked again by somebody different. Well, you know, how did you get on the dating sites? Because it's not something I'm particularly closed about talking about. I have discussed it before. So this video will, in essence, be a list of things. I'm going to read it off the email, so I will cut out various bits that I said, just so it doesn't sort of indicate who that person is. And hopefully some women out there will listen to it and go, no, complete nonsense, that wouldn't work. I don't care either way, it's just my advice. As I say, it's off the top of my head. I've not done any physical research into this. It's only based on my experiences and how I've got on with dating websites. So I'm going to read that now, so I'm not going to look at the camera, you have to excuse me. So my tips for dating sites are pretty short. If you want my advice, it's as follows. The most important thing is to be proactive and contact them. So what I mean by that is, if you're on a dating site, send out messages to the guys, actually get in touch with them, take the trouble of reading their profile and sending them something jovial or whatever, a hello. Try not to make it one line, actually try and engage with them, make the email about them. So yeah, most important thing is to contact them. Only use a photo of you, nobody else in shot. So this used to really frustrate me whenever I'd go to somebody's profile and there'd be 5 women in the photograph, and then the next photo would be of 2 women. So you couldn't figure out who the person actually was, and I would normally lose interest pretty quickly and move on. So yeah, you don't want to have to be asking them who they are on their profile. It should be pretty obvious. Next, use your best photo and your best recent photo. In other words, if you've got photos that are 10 years old, let's say you're looking a little bit younger than you were, that's fine, so long as you also put your best recent photo somewhere that's a nice setting. You know, don't take it in your lounge like I am now with all the clutter around me. You're better off actually taking it in a nice setting, but recent, so it's an obvious photograph somehow that is discernible as being modern, that it's not, you know, you from 20 years ago, when you've got much more or much less of something on your body or whatever. So yes, try and keep the photo realistic, but also do pick a photo that is nice, and don't use hundreds. A couple of photos is absolutely fine. It's enough to get your guys interest. And often I've found that people who've put a couple of photos on and I've been really interested in, they've then uploaded more and I've lost interest because it's actually less appealing. They've then put their not so good shots. So just use a couple of photos. You don't need hundreds. Keep your profile short. It's great to give the person an idea about what you are, what you're about. Again, try and relate it to you as much as possible, but endless paragraphs about what you've done in your life, where you're going, what you're looking for in a man, what you dislike, what you hated about your last fella, your last relation. Nobody wants to read that. You know, if you can keep it to a paragraph, that's the best possible way forward to get people to actually respond to you, which is something else I'll come on to in a minute in terms of getting responses. Show off. Tell them the best bits about you, the stuff that you actually like about yourself. So if for the sake of argument your job involves lots of travel and that's something that you absolutely love, explain that. You know, I absolutely love travelling around the world. It's something I do for a living. Keep it short, keep it positive, all about the things that you do like. Don't mention things that you don't like. So I hate people who are really untidy. I hate people who don't do this. Not I hate, I'm sure people would phrase these things, maybe they wouldn't more carefully, but going on about things that you don't like isn't positive. It's not inducive of people wanting to respond if you're contacting them or contact you proactively. Let's just move on. Where am I? Age range. So set a realistic age range. Don't be too exclusive. In other words, if you are in your 20s, to say that you only want somebody between 18 and 22 is a little bit limiting. By the same token, if you say, I'm more than happy to have somebody from 18 to 50, that's a bit too wide a range. Try and keep it realistic. If you were 20, you'd put it 18 to 35 for the sake of argument. And you might think, oh, 35, that's a scary number. Well, you just don't know who you're going to meet. You don't want to exclude that perfect guy just because he's a little bit older. By the same token, if you were in your 40s, don't be afraid to set the limit lower. Don't be afraid to start it at 30, 10 years younger. So what? It's not the end of the world. But if you start setting it at 18 in your 40s, it looks bad. So yeah, try to set a realistic age range. Don't mention things that you don't like. Tell them about things that you are interested in as opposed to things that you specifically want. So if you like visiting live concerts, I really enjoy going to live concerts. It doesn't say, I want a man who wants to go to live concerts a lot. So it's just in the phrasing. They'll pick up on what you actually want based on the limited information, and you kind of want to leave it open so that they're actually contacting you anyway. You don't necessarily want to leave your profile in a position where they're having to potentially revise back all of the information that you've given them, it'll set your frame of mind that if you've written all that information, you've taken a long time and a huge amount of trouble to get all of the information about you and what you are and what you want into that profile. Your mind is then of the expectation that anybody who comes to you with a message has already read that, and if they don't know that you're you're an accountant and they haven't read your profile, which will be the case. Again, I'll come back onto the proactive men who contact you, but if they don't know it, it sets your mind up for a high expectation of the people that contact you. So better to leave it open so that they've got more things to talk about with you. Let's just see where I am. So yeah, I'm just basically, I might as well read them, that sentence. Don't tell them what you want. They'll be able to figure that out from your profile, and hopefully you'll be the one contacting them anyway. So saying I don't like untidiness or whatever may put off a creative slob when it's just a bit untidy. I'm sure you get my drift. So yeah, that was how I'd phrased it to that person in that email. That's it. If you like, I can look at your profile and go through it. I won't be doing that with anybody who sends me their comments. I'm not going to look at anybody's profile. I'm not interested. Dislike if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike it, like it if you like it. But yeah, I'm not going to be offering anybody any further advice beyond this video. Seriously, if you could get it down to a single paragraph, that's ideal. I think I'm pretty much summarising what I've said already. I'll just read it through just to make sure I haven't got any further points. Leave plenty to talk about so that they contact you with questions as opposed to being expected to know all of the details about you from your profile. So yes, what I'm basically saying is if you've got a few interesting paragraphs about yourself, when they contact you, they'll contact you with question marks rather than with statements about you and how you're tying yourself up with them. Yeah, this one's probably, I should have put this first. So this is a very important one. And this is all for girls. So if you read this, if you watch this and you're a guy and you're thinking, this doesn't make any sense, this is all directed at women. So I was going to say, lastly, only use the paid sites and only use them for the most limited time available to you. If they offer you a month, 3 months and 6 months, only use it for a month. And the reason is because you're going to be going through the profiles proactively, if you follow my advice at least. You're going to be looking at the guys that actually fit your criteria by searching them, changing your search criteria in the websites so that you can get a list of men and go through them. Once you find one, you're going to proactively contact them. So, it makes more sense to have a month with a website, a solid month, where, if I'm honest, if you were keen, you could go through their stock of men in about a week. It doesn't matter which website, because everybody's an individual and you're going to limit your criteria. You'll find that if you do this in a keen way, after a week, you'd find that you expand out your criteria anyway. If you've got a 6-month plan with them, you're going to be there expanding out your criteria and looking at all the dross, responding to all the messages. So yeah, so it's more about the sending out messages proactively. That's why you keep the limited time of your engagement with any site. Once you've paid them your $10 for that 1 month, rather than being able to get it for $15 for 3 months, pay the extra, move on to the next site and see what stock they've got. By the time you get to 6 months, you will have met more people as a result of this. The chances are you'll have had a lot faster success just by being proactive. And I'm going to give that a little bit more clarity, because this is the biggest mistake that I've heard from women. They spend a lot of time setting up their profile, a lot of time detailing what they want and who they are, and then that's it. They just wait for messages, and they'll go through the dross, the hundreds and hundreds of messages that men send out proactively. One-line messages, and I'm not going to get into the mistakes that men make, but if you're a woman and you're on a dating site, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The men who send you one line, clearly haven't read your profile, how are you doing? Useless. But you can spend a lot of time going through those messages to the proactive men. I'm saying my basic piece of advice, the most important thing for women on dating sites: be proactive. Actually look at the men that are available on the sites, contact them, and give them a little bit of information on your profile, not an endless 10-paragraph bore fest. Keep it to a paragraph or two at the very most. That way, hopefully you'll just spark some intrigue. Again, if you can actually keep the phrasing of your profile in check with them, using lots of you and your, as opposed to, it's difficult when you're trying to phrase it about you and yourself, but it's possible if you give it some thought, and that way it'll just be a little bit more engaging, because everybody likes themselves, everybody's their own favourite subject. So if your profile makes it seem like it's about them, if you love music, I'm a music lover, it makes it seem like it's about the person reading it, and just get a little bit more engagement. But yeah, that's my number one thing, my most important thing for anybody who's potentially looking for a guy, any girl who's potentially looking for a guy on a dating website. Be proactive. Don't fall into the mistake of just making a very long profile and waiting for guys to contact you and then going through hundreds of emails. Contact the guys that you actually like. Set out your intentions to them in your email. I like the look of you. You look like the kind of guy I'm interested in. Drop me a line if you're interested. Try and read their profile and actually get a small amount of information to show that you have actually exercised some interest in them. And that's it. Move on. Once you've been on the site for a month, move to the next one, and then after another month, move to the next one, even if you've had a limited amount of success, because if you do that, by the time you come back 3 or 4 months later, there'll be at least some new men on the site that you started on, rather than just refreshing and opening up your profile and opening up your search criteria to the single site that you're on. So that's it. That's my advice. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.